So I think we got
You guys
get out before they close?
Well, after me, they only last.
And we thought it was gonna be like till now to like.
What was that place
Yeah,
called
we
again?
changed it.
What was it called again?
New
We
Western.
didn't realize how fast it would just shot the horse.
Well, we were at
And then they
we were at a conference in Florida, and they had a
But he was
booth
saying
there,
they might come
and
back.
they were talking to us. I was like, "Oh, you
Or they
like
might
to
try
Seattle?"
to.
And I was like, "I don't think he knew that. He's from probably Florida." Or like, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
I don't know.
well, we're going back." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Their lease is good through May.
Yeah.
Yep. I was there the day they closed, and I offered 5 cents on the dollar for their office.
Who did?
There you go.
New Western.
Where's the office?
Oh, I offered the regional manager.
Oh, did you guys have minimal fees that you guys put on the house?
So what they did is they would double close, so the investors were actually paying excise on the front side. So we had to get it for a little bit cheaper than I think everyone else, because we weren't doing assignments there, and that was just strictly a liability
It's same
thing.
thing Sunday.
Well, Sunday
Just-
doesn't actually have properties under contract.
No, I know, but they would do the double close.
Right.
That's why the excise and everything. You have to get their deal.
No, that's how
Sunday
I
has
have
a lot
a
of
and I have
Very
actually
well.
working on
And now they're
it.
As
soon as you said yes, I am.
Before they
I have
exited
the-
Seattle,
I
also
actually
they were putting them on less.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like,
Oh,
I was like, damn.
1% buyer agent commissions, something like that.
So it would be a double close, you guys would buy it, close on it, and then sell it to the
They would
investor.
close on it.
Wait, yeah, so I mean, we wouldn't go through the closing process unless we had a buyer lined up and the PM locked in. And then the double close would happen all in the same day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you
Yeah.
guys. Hi.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
Oh, that's
a lot.
what it is. I didn't know I was doing.
I ran into a few other companies that do it like that, which is crazy.
Wait, what did you think?
But yeah, instead of picking up that 80% deal, it has to be more at like 75%, yeah.
And then you guys would only get paid on commissions, 3% commissions.
Well, no, it was worse.
Sales agent, yeah,
Well, you guys
yeah,
collect
percent of the
3%,
profit,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Interesting.
They're doing pretty well in Florida though.
It's great for new agents.
And I think their business model works out better in cheaper markets.
Of course, if
Especially in
you're,
South.
125 grand property.
Yeah,
Right. I
Yeah.
already want to get into
Yeah,
that's why I joined Western. Because
Yeah,
we
you're
got
not working
markets. I'm like,
otherwise.
it's great. I get first pick in all the
Yeah.
markets.
What do you guys
It
buy?
didn't turn out that well.
Right now, we just went mutual on a property
So
in
that's
Eastgate.
just going for myself.
Eastgate?
Yeah.
Okay,
Everything
oh,
you can know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Seattle or
You
from
know.
which part of East?
Over
Eastgate, Seattle?
Yeah, like right on the other
Okay.
side of the freeway.
Okay.
Yeah, so closing on that one in January.
Off market?
Off market, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, actually got it from a friend who's a broker at Windsor now, who my grandma used to babysit, so full circle.
Wow, that's
While we're
great.
doing a transaction together.
Nice.
But yeah, we made an offer on a renting house today, so fingers crossed on that one too.
Alright.
But
Which one was the rent house?
that one needs a lot. I mean, it hasn't been lived in for a couple of years. And they're like, yeah, just minor water damage.
Oh yeah, minor. New electrical panel. Sure.
Yeah, you gotta put the highlights on there.
Yeah, it was a new electrical meter, not the panel. So it's like,
No, I think they changed a little door.
yeah, they changed it. Color breakers. I'm like, that's 1970s.
Yeah,
Haven't touched it since, so.
original cabinets.
They actually have a really nice built-in stove. 60s. GE.
Sometimes.
So you guys are partnering up then?
Yeah. We were both acquisition agents at New Western for a bit. And we were both there for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So,
I was there a week over a year.
Alright, what did you think?
Oh, cool pens. Check it out.
Everyone grab a pen.
Let's go quick. Grab them fast. See you guys, welcome. Just running a couple minutes behind, just wrapping up on a call. We'll get going.
No, I just
You're welcome to sit in the front of the class.
I just wanted to. No, you guys just-
That's you, right.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any money.
No.
They hand it out.
Welcome back.
You starting it?
No, probably not today. I think you just wrapped it up.
He's wrapping up the meeting real fast. So he said, go ahead and kick off.
Sure, well,
I think he probably wants to know people's experience before I see it.
Just go.
Sure. Keep going.
Let's just take it easy. Okay, here, pal. Let's start with introductions.
No. Oh, yeah. Nice. Does he have a punch card? He's got a punch card. This is his free session.
What's
Yeah,
his flip on my presentation?
They could one?
Sure, whatever one he wants.
Oh, cool.
Honor of him.
And just, yeah.
I've been updating the slides forever, so they're like last year. It's like Tyler's first condo flip is on there.
Oh, the tiger.
Yeah.
We can probably get at least an intro going.
Yeah.
I'm Vlad. I'm one of the acquisition brokers here. I want to thank you guys all for coming, taking time out of your day. Usually I like to kick off and just kind of go around the room and introduce yourselves, maybe experience level. And James will kind of catch up and kind of let you guys know. This is a non-selling, basically letting you know what we do. And hopefully if you guys have any questions, feel free to, raise your hand anytime. This is, not, we don't have to go in any particular order or anything like that. And we'll jump in and kind of show you what we offer, how we operate, what kind of brokerage, and how we work with investors like yourselves specifically, and how we specialize as an investment brokerage rather than just a standard traditional brokerage. So we want to just jump around the room.
Sure. I'm Jesse Bacon. I have 0 experience. I'm just hitting meetups at this point.
Okay, cool. Welcome.
My name is Dion. I've been doing this for a couple of years. Now me and Derek are flipping full time. We used to be selling distressed property, but now we're land buyers.
All right. That's a good way to start.
Yep, I'm with him, have a few years, was raised by a general contractor, so that makes it a lot easier going out there and doing scope of work.
Yeah, awesome.
Sure. I'm Tyler, no experience really, just kind of started the class with James, probably you have him down here.
But he's got experience in the trade field,
Yes,
so
right,
hopefully
yeah.
that's important.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
has
huge.
other trades in your pocket as well.
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Susan Dahl. I've invested over the years, mostly single families, not, but haven't done anything in a while. So need to get back out there and refresh myself in the marketplace.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
looking for maybe even a market update if there's anything like that you're going to.
So typically, we will do a market update. He does that monthly,
Yeah.
and we usually do it concurrent with this 101 class. So if there's no data points on that, just
Sure.
look out for his project or YouTube. Then we'll have that. If not, the following week.
I'll make sure to get
That's
There you
great. Yeah, I've already heard
Perfect.
that.
Yeah, so he
that's
does
great.
that. We do
So I
that
just wanted
monthly.
to get back into it. And see
Yeah,
what's
it's an
out
interesting
there.
market for sure.
What areas were you in?
I want to market Seattle, buy
Seattle.
and hold and wholesale.
Vinyl?
Yeah, I like Seattle right now. I don't know if it's that popular for everybody else, but
Yeah.
I like Seattle.
Okay.
Thinking that might be a good place to be and take advantage of like ADUs and stuff like that.
Nice.
Maybe so, yeah.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, my name is Ankit and I am starting, this is my day one. I'm looking forward to explore more and understand your model.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome.
Hi, my name is Rajat. I'm also like brand new. I've read up a few books, but again, it's all theoretical knowledge at this point.
Okay, well, perfect. I mean, this is the first step, whether you're experienced, start, finish, trade, have been doing it for years. Kind of we specialize in working with new investors, experienced investors. For them, they just want the opportunities. For new investors, we show you how to go to A to Z and how to look at properties, underwrite properties, what's a good deal, why does it make sense, and where do you start? So thank you guys and welcome. I'll touch base kind of where he's at in probably a couple minutes and then we'll get going. Like I said, feel free, and there's no if there's any questions, you're welcome to interrupt or anything like that, or we'll take questions at the end as well.
Yep.
You're good right here.
Okay, feel free.
It's James right there. Once he gets in the meeting and starts talking, he won't shut up. Just running a little bit behind.
He's gonna be the same once he gets in here.
Yeah, I know. We'll go over every detail. If you guys have any questions, honestly, interaction's perfect here. Does anyone have a problem with dogs?
What's the dog's
This is
name?
Nash.
Yeah.
When you start petting him, he'll probably come over and bother you and he'll just tell us to get away, but he'll just want you to pet him nonstop.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
What's going on, guys? How are ya?
Good.
Sorry, we were wrapping up we were narrowing a buy box. Before play. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. How'd your sales call go?
Mine?
Yeah.
I was alright.
You didn't jump back on, so I'm like, you must have closed the
It was a
deal.
while, no. It was a while, maybe we'll see them on follow up though.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what the long ones are? Yeah, you're just building before that.
That's right.
But yeah, you didn't get back on, so I'm like, I was like, I wonder if you closed it
It's
or.
open. We'll get it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Good to meet you, man.
Pleasure.
If
Yeah.
anything, you give Jimmy a good deal on some HVAC, he'll be your next
Yeah,
sales.
there you go.
You do more like retail, right? Like,
Residential retrofit.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your average furnace system?
Like cost wise?
Yeah.
You could be
Like 2,500 square foot house, ducting, furnace, everything.
I wouldn't do the ducting. I mean, we'd probably be like, if we were doing the ductwork, the furnace, we'd probably be like 15, 20K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right around there.
Yeah. That's why you guys got fancy trucks.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna jump right in because I'm running a little bit late. But hey, how's everyone doing? I seem familiar. I know we've met a few times.
I think so, yes.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Well, cool. Well, we're gonna jump in. You guys, I'm James Dainard. I'm one of the managing principals at Heaton Dainard Real Estate. So before we really dive in, just to get a background of what this presentation is, we are not going to be trying to sell you guys anything right now. Nothing to sign up for right now. The whole purpose of this class is to kind of take you guys through how we do business, how we underwrite deals, how we look at financial performance, show you guys our services, and then from there, we're gonna say, hey, if you want to get involved, what we would do is then line you up for a one-on-one meeting for you guys to come meet with us, and then we're gonna get a lot more specific about what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, then start showing you and talking to you from there. So just be aware, I'm not gonna try to sell you anything right now. So again, and if you have questions about the presentation, just go ahead and ask, and then we'll answer them right there on the spot. But to get going, again, I'm James Dainard. So we've been, this is my business partner, Will Heaton. We've been business partners now for almost 18 years. So we got in the business in 2005. I was a senior in college. He was a salesperson that took a job at a real estate investment company. And how we got in the business was going out and banging doors, finding off-market deals for this investment company. They would buy them, renovate them, flip them, or keep them. And then that's kind of what we grew up in. Like, we learned how to find a good deal. From 2005 to 2008, we sold hundreds of off-market properties. We started our own business in 2008. Subprime mortgages exploded on us 2 months later. And then that's where we kind of created our companies today. And that's what we're going to talk about. In 2008, we went from a big transition from just selling really off-market properties to there was nobody buying properties. So we would find these good deals. No one would buy them. So we started flipping all the houses 2008, 9, 10, and 11 when the market was really difficult. During that time, it was kind of a miserable time in real estate. Not a lot of margin on deals. It was a very chaotic market. But what it did is it taught us the skill set to renovate in any type of investment, or any type of housing market. And it taught us how to be profitable in any type of housing market. And that's how we started Heaton Dainard. So 2009, we launched Heaton Dainard. Why we did that is because we had this skill set and we had all this deal flow. We were able to provide people with the deal flow, but then to provide them with the service. And Heaton Dainard, what they specialize in is finding properties and then not only selling them or underwriting highest and best use, selling it to them, but walking the clients through the process. And by walking them through the process, we can take a very high risk business and mitigate it down for you guys. And so we're going to dive into that right now. But give you a background on us two, how we do it. We're kind of divide and conquer owners. I run the brokerage. I run our off-market company. I run all of our flipping businesses. We both participate in Intrust funding. Will runs more point with the communication there, the underwriting the deals. We both bring in different types of loans depending on what's going on. And then he runs more of our apartment syndicating, our holdings companies, and our new construction and development. So we have a lot of different real estate businesses. We have a lot of different experience. And that's why people come to work with us. We're not just real estate brokers trying to sell a deal. We understand the deal and we're selling opportunities based on whether we would buy them or not. So since starting Heaton Dainard Real Estate in 2010, we really took off because people needed the help. And providing a lot of service really changed everything. Instead of just finding deals, we were helping everyone through, and it really exploded. So since 2010, though, we have sold 3,500 properties to investors that are in discount, value add, where we've done 3,500 transactions, whether it's the discount value add, multifamily, BRRRR properties, and then selling them when they're all renovated. So we're a very high volume shop. We've done over $1 billion in sales transactions with investors just like you. We do not work. Our business is geared up for investment properties. We're a boutique office. We don't go out and show people properties. We're not your Windermere's. And there's nothing wrong with Windermere. It's a great company, but that's not what we do. We specialize in working with investors. And then our listing team has designed and listed over 1,500 homes. So not only do we know how to find a good deal, renovate them, our team is set up to help stabilize. They have the experience of renovation, and we know how to get them to highest and best use and sell them for the maximum amount of money. So what do we do at the brokerage? The first thing is we source properties. We source them on and off market. We don't care where they come from. We are margin chasers. We are looking for how people can buy these properties, renovate them, and get a return. We have our internal company called Buck Buys Houses, where we're sending mailers, we're making cold calls, and we're constantly working off market deals. And then we have our team of brokers that track everything that's listed on market. We're driving them, we're walking them, we're budgeting them beforehand, securing them, and then selling them to our clients. Now, once we source the property, then we run property analysis. So who has worked with a broker that has tried to sell them investment properties in the last 12 months? Anybody? What's your experience like when you're working with brokers?
I didn't buy any of them. They weren't good deals.
But they would just send you opportunities. They're like, here's a listing. We will never do that. That is not what we do. And that's where the specialty kind of comes into play, because the brokers do that. They go, well, it's below market. Well, it doesn't matter if it's below market. It's can you make money on it? Can you recognize it? And so what we do is we run property analysis to where we're going, is this thing profitable? What is highest and best use? So every time we do this, and we'll walk through it in a second, we're going to be, every property that we sell comes with a full analysis breakdown, a pro forma, a budget, a cost analysis, and whether it's actually profitable. So we will not just be sending you out listings. We also don't just put you on drip listings where we go, okay, you're going to be our client now. We're going to put you in the MLS, and we're just going to, every listing that goes out is just going to feed to you. Another thing we don't do. So we will be analyzing the property before they're sent out. Is it profitable? Then once you buy the property, what we're really known for is we're going to help you execute on that plan, because it's really easy to get a good deal. It's about how do you execute on a good deal, whether you're going to make money or not. And so not only are we going to find that property, run analysis for you, but once you buy, a secondary team comes in and we're going to help you through that process. And we're going to take you through that in a second. So the services that we offer, as it slowly rolls, at our office, what we specialize in is acquisition and purchasing, buying below market value. We're then going to underwrite the property to highest and best use and give you guys a plan. That, now that doesn't mean it's the best plan, but it's the plan that we highly suggest. We think it's the most profitable. It might have the least passive resistance. Whatever we think is going to give you the best plan, we're always going to deliver to you. Some of our clients take that plan, they throw it in the garbage, and they do whatever they want with it. And that's totally fine. They do well that way. But we will always deliver our recommendations. In addition to doing the underwriting, then our company is also going to provide you with contractor referrals. And we'll talk about who does that and how that works. So we have contractors that we've worked with for years. We have our clients' contractors. We're constantly going out interviewing new contractors, and we're trying to get you guys as much resources as possible. Now, none of these referrals are our employees. They are not our company. They are people that we're just vetting and going and meeting with them and trying to figure out whether they're pricing. So we always do say buyer beware on the referrals. But we are constantly trying to bring in more resources, because as investors, the more resources you have, the more money you're going to make. Again, buying the best deal in the world doesn't mean anything unless you can execute on it. And so us bringing in referrals is so that our clients can keep their budgets down. The tighter they keep their budgets, the more profitable they're going to be. The more profitable for our clients, the more they're going to buy with us and stay with us for lifetime clients. And so we will be providing you with contractor referrals, but do find your own, guys. No one is going to be as good as the people that you go out and meet, you spend the time building your relationships with. A lot of our clients start with our guys and then they end up finding their own guys, and then they're really self-sufficient. So always be looking for that referral. Once you guys have your contractor referrals, we also have financing referrals. So every one of our properties have been pre-approved with Intrust funding that they can fund that deal. In addition to, we work with a handful of mortgage professionals that we're going to refer out. These people pay us $0 marketing fees. They pay us no referral fees. We refer them out because we know they do good business. They understand what you guys do, and they can get you in and out of deals. So we'll always be referring you out mortgage professionals, banking professionals, anything with debt that will help you guys execute. And then we also do design services, and that's included with our listing. There is no extra fee for our design services. It's just part of our listing. So any questions so far before we dive in? Cool. So now getting started. So you guys, we're going to take you through how we look at deals and an example that went out. But before we do that, before any one of you guys, who is new to flipping properties or buying investment properties? Okay, so a fair chunk of you guys, which is, you guys are in the right spot. So, but as you guys get going on your investing journey, it's not about just going out and finding that deal right now. It's about going and finding your team as you're doing this. A lot of you guys are probably checking out different brokerages. You're checking out different deal sources. You're spending time on podcasts. You're getting educated. Those are all great things. But a lot of times people just bypass this and they go find this when they get their good deal. That is too late in the process. So as you're doing that, you want to be thinking about building out your bench too. So we tell every client, as you get going on your journey, you need to find 2 reliable general contractors.
Question.
Yep.
What is hard money lender?
A hard money lender is a cash financing lender. So they're going to provide you with the short-term capital to fix up a property and then get it stabilized. A hard money lender is also going to finance properties that aren't financeable by a traditional bank. So like houses that need a lot of repair, if the roof's blown out, the windows are blown out. A traditional lender like Chase, Wells Fargo, BOA, they're not going to want to underwrite and fund that deal. So hard money is for the properties that aren't financeable, and they provide you with cash to do so. And then interest funding, we'll be talking after this as well. So 2 reliable general contractors, 2 reliable subcontractors. Like get 2 roofers going. Like as you talk to people, like, oh, this person does roofs. Let me get their information. What's their pricing? Because you guys, one thing that the pandemic taught us is as labor gets trickier, you have to call more people, right? Everything is costing more. People are busy. The more busy they are, the more expensive they charge. And so you always want to be building that bench. You want to have 2 reliable hard money lenders. Those are the people that are going to be able to provide you with the capital to buy a property quickly. When fixer properties come up that are discounted below market and they're profitable, they sell really quick. And many, many times the reason the seller is selling for a discount is because they're getting a quick cash offer and they want out of the property. And so, but if you're not prepared with a lender like Intrust funding, you can have a great deal come across your plate, but you can't execute and it's gone. And so you always want to be qualified with a hard money lender. So everybody in here, you guys, as you're shopping, get qualified with Intrust. Is going to get you guys prepared because, again, you don't want to miss a good deal because you need to go through the process. In addition to a hard money lender, you should have a conventional lender. These are the people that are going to finance your rental properties, your owner-occupied properties, or anything that's not going to be for the short term. The reason you want to do that is because when you take down a property with hard money, let's say it's a rental, you want to make sure that you can get out of that loan. Hard money costs a lot more. And so as you build out your buy box and you build out your goals, having access to capital is essential. So these are your three main lenders: hard money for your financing, your construction financing, your conventional for your rental properties, and the commercial lenders will be commercial lenders are going to be for like your 5 units and above apartment buildings. So it's just really important, guys, to have access to debt. The reason we had so many issues in 2008, there was no debt available. And it was a scramble to always get money in the door. So the more money that you have loaded up with you or access to it, the more you're going to grow as an investor. Once you find those lenders, the reason you do that, you don't want to miss a good deal. Comes across, you can execute on it. You're going to be able to make a quick decision. Can you buy this? Yes or no, right? So you want to be prepared with cash. Is there, what is your takedown financing for this? Like, as you're looking at a deal, do I need to use hard money? Do I need to use conventional? And then how am I going to stabilize this if I want to keep it? And let's say I'm buying a big value add property where you're trying to make a lot of margin on the deal. Okay, I can take it down with hard money. Hard money is easy to get. Can I keep it and actually get permanent financing? Some people make a big mistake by going out and buying a rental property, and they didn't really dig into this much. They buy the property, they go through the whole renovation, they go to get a loan, they can't get a loan. And so the whole process was a waste of time. Instead of buying that property, they should have been buying a flip property. And so just knowing your financing will make a big difference in what you're going to do. All right, now that we kind of talked about getting started, right, building out your teams, we're going to jump right into finding you guys the right, our fix and flip team, and finding you guys the right deal. So compared to many brokerages out there, I do things the opposite. So typically, if you go into, again, let's say Windermere, I say Windermere because it's the biggest brand. You're going to call in their office, or they're going to take your lead, and then they're going to assign you to a broker. And that's your broker now, right? Whether you like them or not, or once you like them, then you're signed up with them. But you get round robin around a lot of times, or it's done by a referral. How our teams are situated is we set up our broker teams to where you're not working with one broker. You're working with specialists for specific locations. So on our acquisition team, we have 4 brokers that we're actually expanding into 5 right now. And what these brokers do, they work with all of our clients. Now, how you work with them, it depends on a couple things. One will be budget. What areas are you looking at? What's your affordability? The next is going to be location. Our brokers are assigned to locations, not clients. The reason we do that is because it's more important for me as a business owner to make sure that my brokers understand that investment area more than anything else. Because at the end of the day, it's always about dollars and cents, not just about showing clients 100 homes. And so the reason I bring that up is many of you will come in and say, hey, I have 75,000 I want to get working. And I don't care if it's in Everett or I just want to get into a deal. It could be in Tacoma or Everett. You would be working with 2 brokers at the same time because one's a Pierce County Tacoma broker, one's an Everett broker. They're both specialists in those areas. We want you working with specialists, not a broker. I don't want a broker looking at properties in Everett and Tacoma. That just means he's looking at everything. We want them to know the details of every street, the locations, the permitting process, all those things. And so as you guys come in, if you decide to do a one-on-one and start moving forward, you could be working with numerous brokers. But that's in your best interest because you're going to get more opportunities. Plus, those people understand those opportunities a lot better. So we have 4 core acquisition brokers that will be working with you on sourcing the deals. Then we have a full support staff. We have 3 transaction coordinators that will be working with you all the way through the process when you start moving forward on purchase. That's going to be from signing documents, signing purchase and sales, signing assignment agreements, setting up your loan, and working with you all the way through. So especially since a lot of you guys are new, that's really important that you have clear communication through. But there's point people for you to work with. Now, once you buy the property, then you're assigned to our dispo team. So on our fix and flip team, probably what I call him our ace in the hole, is Ryan Burgess. So Ryan has been our project manager for my own flips for over 10 years. Ryan, how long have you worked with this for? 15. So Ryan's working with me on almost every one of my houses. He's working on some of my houses right now. Ryan's job is to make your guys' life easier throughout the construction process. He is not a project manager. He does not run projects for people. But what he here is a resource for you guys. So when you buy your property, you're going to meet one of our listing brokers and Ryan there. Ryan's going to walk the property with you guys and find out what you guys need. So if you need a roofer, he's going to give you 3 roofers to call. If you need 3 landscapers, he's going to get you a couple landscapers, cabinet companies for it. So any construction resource, he is there for you. He's available for you every week. Whenever you need him, he'll go out and walk with you. Now, when you contact him, one of our listing brokers will also go with him because Ryan knows resources in construction. You still want your design team with you. So our listing brokers are design trained. They have all designed my houses. I do not pick any tile, paint colors, or anything for my homes. I haven't done it in over 10 years. I used to design every one of my homes. They know what they're doing, they know the trends, and they're there to work with you on colors, palette schemes, and what works and what doesn't work. They're going to give you suggestions. You can design the house whatever which way you want, but we're just going to say we feel like this is the best use of your money. And so once you buy the property, you get a full service from there. Any questions on the team? Okay. So now that we've talked about the team, let's talk about what our advantage is. So again, many brokerages, once you talk to them, they're going to send you out listings. And they say, hey, this property looks cheap. Should we go look at it? They don't know what it's going to sell for. They don't know if it's going to have multiple offers. They haven't been there yet. Their foundation could be blown out. And you can get in your car and you can go drive up there and all of a sudden you're like, this is just terrible. Or, you know, I got there and they already have 35 offers and it's 50 grand more than I can pay. I just wasted my time. We're big on not wasting people's time. Time is money. And so what our advantage is we are not showing you guys properties. The only time we go out and show properties, if it's for like a long-term hold property where someone's has very specifics about what they want to keep for a 5 to 10 year period. Other than that, we're going to be giving you actual opportunities. So everything that we sell to you guys or provide out has been secured by a contract already. The pricing is already fixed. We know what we have a rough budget already ran on it. And it's an opportunity that you can buy now. So it's going to be a lot different than you have worked with every other type of investment broker. In addition to providing you with opportunities that you can buy today, and you know what the numbers are, it's our overall service and experience that we'll provide you with. And our goal is to provide you with the tools you need to be successful and the extensive resources to guide you from start to finish, and it's up to you to execute. No other brokers, as far as I know, provides all the resources as far as lending, construction referrals, design referrals, all included inside of their fees. That is our biggest advantage, is we're not just selling you property, we're giving you a plan. And the more plan you have, the easier it is going to be for you guys to execute. So, and like I kind of briefly talked about, our big advantage for the acquisition is you're getting actual opportunities. These are things you can buy today. The price doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. This is just what it is, and you can see the numbers right in front of you. Pricing is fixed. Again, it doesn't go up and down. And then every time that you guys get a property from us, you're going to have detailed walkthrough notes. We've already been to the property. We've already walked it. You're going to have a deal pro forma. What can you buy it for? How much do you put into it? What's your debt cost? What are you selling for? What's your actual profitability? Most brokerages, they're going to send it to you. It's up to the investor to try to figure out whether it's profitable or not. So we're going to provide you with the pro forma. We're going to give you an exit strategy with rehab plans and specs. That's an estimated budget. That's a spec sheet, so you know what cabinets, colors, everything to put into the property. It's going to give you referrals to how to execute on that and get you through that process. In addition to, we're going to give you a detailed CMA for the value add, saying if you do these things to this property, the property will be worth this based on the comparables that we're pulling. So we're going to give you a full package on it. Our listing services, our advantage are, there's no other team like us in the state. That's when people ask, like, what's the difference between us and I'm like, well, there's everything's the difference. Our listing team, like I've said, is designed and budgeted trained. They are not just going out there and saying, hey, put in new cabinets and new countertops. They're showing you the cabinets you can pick. They're showing you the countertops. And not only that, they're going to show you stuff that works in a very cost-effective way. We don't want you spending $25,000 on cabinets and counters. We want you spending $8,000. We don't want you spending $50,000 on flooring. We want you spending $10,000. And so everything that they recommend will be inside a budget that will help make you more profitable. They're going to give you up-to-date market updates. As you're working on these properties, sometimes it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Markets change during that time. Every month, they will be sending you new comparables, if anything's changing on your values, if we should do a change on the plan. If we told you that the house is worth $500 because it had 1 bath and said you don't need to add another bath, but then 2 comparables pop up in a month and they all have 2 baths and they're selling for $600, we're going to say, hey, wait a second. We might need to switch the plan, because if you can add this bathroom for $10,000 and get an extra 90 out of it, that's a win. So they're going to be tracking that for you. They can do monthly and weekly job site walks for you. So once you buy the property, a listing broker is assigned to you. They will meet you every week on site if you need it. They'll meet you every other week. Whenever you want to walk that site, they will walk it with you to go over ideas, go over floor plans, go over design. You have our client service manager that we've touched on, and then they will always be updating your CMA and comparables. So now we've gone over the team, we're going to talk about knowing the deals. So this is an example of a property that we sent out. We're updating this. We're actually got a new one that just came out. But the reason we want to show this to you guys is because this is how, if you come in, you decide to move forward with us to do business, you come and do your one-on-one, this is exactly how you're going to be getting opportunities. Okay, well, maybe not exact. You're going to get them one of 2 ways. One will be in this pretty marketing, which is where it's all set up, or one will just be a straight outlook, but it's always going to have the same core information in there for you. So in them emails, once you're going to get, this is what the deal is. The first thing you're going to see is just a rough block of, hey, this is generic of what it is. This is the location it's in. Here's the pros and cons, because we know everybody doesn't know every neighborhood. It could have good schools. It could be in a great location. Maybe it's in a not a great location. We're going to put that all in the general description here. Next part of the email is the nuts and bolts of the property. Probably the most important piece. This will always have the block. What's the purchase price? Acquisition's $410,000. You can buy this for $410,000. That covers all commissions, fees, everything's included. The only thing it does not include is your side of closing costs. The reason we don't have it in there is because half of our borrowers use hard money, half use cash. Their closing costs change. And so it covers all costs, but your side of the closing costs, which are roughly going to be anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000 typically. We're going to have an estimated fix up in there. Then there's the ARV of what we think it's worth, estimated profit, which is all great, except for this doesn't tell you how to get there. But this is always going to be your synopsis of the deal. Now, once you look at that, you go, that's interesting. Let me see what else it says. Then it's going to go down. It's going to give you a bullet point of suggested repairs. This is what it needs. It needs new roof, new windows, new whatever it needs to get it to highest and best use will be bullet pointed at that point. And then it's going to list out what the comps are that we're referencing to get the value. Once you look at this, you go, okay, this is interesting. I want to go further. Then you want to go dig deeper into this email. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on, there's going to be a link to the photos. The link to the photos, you're going to have anywhere between 50 and 150 photos on it. The more work it needs, the more pictures we're putting in. Because again, we don't want to waste your guys' time. Majority of our clients that come through a property after they get an email, the first person's buying typically, because we're trying to really spell out the deal for you in the email. Because again, we don't want you, you're selling HVACs up in North Seattle. We don't want you jumping down to Tacoma just for you like, this was a waste of time. Yeah. So we'll give you plenty of information. But so in this property here, had lots of photos. As you can see, it actually wasn't that bad a shape compared to a lot of the homes that we get. But it was just a kind of a weathered, dated home, very estate-like, not too gross, just a little old. So you can see it. It's got kind of old electrical going throughout. Obviously, the kitchen layout's not going to work right. So it needed a total reconfiguration, hence the $130,000. But as you click through the photos, you're going, okay, based on where I'm at in my investing career right now, is this too much work for me? Or is this kind of what I'm looking for? Based on my contractors I have, they can do an older house. Or no, it's not quite for me. I want to be on something that's a little bit newer that can turn pretty quickly. Let's see, actually the one good thing about this basement, typically guys, like this house would probably be like around 80 to 100 bucks a foot, but actually 30% of it was already remodeled with new wiring and stuff. That's why we're at 130 on this one. But as you go through the photos, you're going, okay, I'm kind of into this house. I kind of like it. Photos don't freak you out. Then it goes to the performa for you. We're switching our performa right now, guys. So you will not see these blocks anymore. It's going to be a lot more interchangeable. But what this is set up for is this is going to show you 3 different scenarios on the profitability. The first thing is total acquisitions at 410. That's the purchase price of the property. Here's our renovation cost at 130,000. Here's our ARV at 700. Then we had an estimated hold time of 9 months. So when you see this, we are telling you that we think it's going to take you 9 months to buy the property, renovate the whole thing, list it, and sell it during that time. We pull these based on historical averages. For our normal flips that are like a cosmetic split level, on average, it takes our clients 6.1 months to flip those. For one that needs a permits like this, it takes about 9 months. And if it's a full studs down, typically it takes 12 to 13 months. So based on those timelines, we're going to change this around. The reason that's important is it's going to queue up the debt for you guys. But just something to look at. Like, okay, so I can buy this for 410, sell for 699, put 130 in. It's going to be in and out in 9 months. The first box is always going to show you if you're not using leverage. That is, hey, I have enough cash in the bank. I got, 410 plus 1. I need 540,000 to do this deal. I'm good. I can buy that. It's going to break down miscellaneous selling costs, or whole costs, which are going to be your property, your taxes, your power bills, kind of general carrying cost. Let's take your direct total. It's going to back out all your real estate commissions, your excise tax, your title, your escrow fees, and then it's going to show you your net profit here. Okay, so you buy this property, you're going to make $100,000 and 500,000 roughly, which is going to be about an 18.5% return in a 9-month period. The next box is our construction loan and interest funding. We'll be talking about this shortly. This is where you go, I don't have the 540,000, but I like the deal. I got 200,000. Interest funding has already qualified this loan. Their typical down payment is going to be 15 to 25% down, depending on the project and the borrower. What interest funding does is they're going to take your 410, they're going to roll in the 130,000. You're going to come in with, let's say, 20% down, the 135% grand down, and they're going to finance you back. You're bringing in 135 to buy this deal. They're going to finance you back $130,000 back in construction. So essentially, they're almost doing 100% financing on this deal. The construction is done on a draw period. Kyle will talk about this more. They do advanced draws. So like basically, this client's going to come in. They're going to bring 135 down. On closing, they're going to get 20% of that back.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're going to get 20% of this rehab back to them on closing to get their project going. So out of the 135, they're going to get roughly 25, 30 grand back. That's going to get them going on their project, and they're going to draw that out to you. Then this is going to calculate your cost of your loan, your points and your interest based on your interest carry for the 9 months. It's going to take all your debt costs. It's going to back it all down, back out your sell costs, and now your profitability went from $100,000 to $50,000 in cost or in profit. But the main difference is you went from an 18% return to a 28% return. So it's just about utilizing leverage. So this performa is going to break down all those scenarios. You're going to be able to use this and change it any which way. You might say, well, my contractor's really slow. I don't want 9 months. I'm going to put it at 12 months. That's fine, because that's your prerogative. And then that will tell you, like, maybe your profit goes to 40. And you're like, well, I'm still good with 40 grand, so I'm going to do this deal. Or I'm not good with 40, so I'm not going to do it. So each one of your deals will have a perform on this. Any questions on this so far? Okay. Now, once you go through the performa, you go, okay, the pictures aren't too scary. The numbers meet my minimum returns that I'm trying to get. I'm into it. Then we're always going to also attach what we think you should do to the property. This is where we're going to give you one of our design books. So we have 12 different versions for 4 different styles. The reason we have 12 different versions is because we have, let's say for a modern home, we have a high-end one where we're speccing out higher-end cabinets, they're bigger budgets, higher countertops, higher price points. The material allowance is going to be a lot higher on that budget. Then we have a normal one, which will be like your kind of run-of-the-mill, middle-grade cabinets, middle-grade countertops. Then we have a low-grade one, and we call a ballin' on a budget one. Ballin' on a budget is like paint, vinyl, making it look cool and swanky, but not spending a lot of money. So based on what we're seeing in the comparable data is going to tell us which spec book to use. Based on the spec book, it's going to give us our budget changes. So not only are you going to get that budget, you're going to get a detailed breakdown of what you should be doing to it, what it needs to look like, and then the allowances on your budget sheet will match up with that. So how do we come up with that budget? Because that's one of the biggest complaints you hear in our business, right? Who is on a bunch of wholesalers lists? Anybody? So when you get these wholesaler emails, they just kind of throw numbers on a page, right?
Yeah.
They're like, it needs 50 grand of work. You're like, well, how did you come up with 50 grand? I'm coming up with 150. You know, they just kind of throw a number on it, right? So how we come up with our budgets is we use a spreadsheet and we do it on as much factual information that we can do based on past clients' experience, what I'm paying. We blend it all together and come up with that sheet. So we're never just going to throw out a number. So how we come up with our budget is a rough calculation of costs based on historicals. It's broken down by allowances and install rates. That's as granular as we can get because we're not a contracting company. We're not selling the budget. We're just trying to give you guys a pro forma. But that's how we come up with the number, and I'll show you that in a second. Investors need to adjust their pro forma accordingly. So if I have a budget sheet, you know, my costs in Seattle are going to be different than my client's cost in Tacoma. My client's cost in Tacoma can get stuff done cheaper than I can in Seattle. So if I take my Seattle teams and I go to Tacoma, I'm probably going to need to adjust my budget sheet. But if they came up to Seattle, they can adjust their budget sheet. And so depending on who you're working with, and that's why I'm saying always build out more resources. You want to make your adjustments. But the good thing is it's going to come to you in a very clean breakdown that you can bring it to a contractor and say, hey, this is how I came up with my budget. Because where contractors are going to get you is if you know logic in your number. You're going to say, my budget's 100 grand. And they're going to say, well, it's 150. Then you're going to go, I can go to 115. They're going to come to 120. Then you're going to meet somewhere in the middle and you're still going to be over budget. Whereas with us, what we found is showing the contractor saying, hey, our budget is 100 grand. This is how we came up with our numbers. And we go line by line with them. A lot of times they're going, yeah, that seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. And by the time, if we're going through and they're saying, well, this all seems reasonable, then they should be at our budget. Or they can really show us what we're missing and go, okay, hey, we think you're low here and here. That tells us we can pull it off the budget, give them what they like, and then we'll sub in the other things at the cost-effective price. So it allows you to be a lot more nimble. And again, you guys, investors should verify all their own costs. So how this looks like on here is this is how we break down the budgets. Here's an example. And you guys, this is really important because this is the nuts and bolts of when you're looking at a deal. So for electrical, we had $9,500 budgeted in for this house because it was basically rewiring about 1,800 square feet of house. We had it at 2,000 square feet for the Romex. That is 6,000. That was just to run the wires. Then we had a trim out at 2,000 to put in the plugs and switches. Then we had 14 light fixtures that needed to go on with a budget of $20 a light fixture. We knew at Home Depot we can go buy those for $20. That's going to work on our spec sheets. That was going to give our electricians $25 to install each fixture. How we know $25 was okay? They told us it was. And so we're constantly interviewing contractors to go, okay, what's your install rate for this? What's your install rate for this? Then we attach the allowances based on the spec finish so it can get very close to where it should be. So that's how we come up with our budget. Every property you ever look at will be ran this way. Again, you need to verify your own costs, but it tells you the logic behind what we're selling. Now, once you get through the budget, you go, okay, my guys look like they can do that kind of budget. Then we're going to break down how do we come up with the value of the property. We will always provide you guys with 2 to 5 comps. In today's market, we're going to be sending you guys a lot more pending properties. We're tracking the current activity more than we are any sold. You know, if a bunch of solds are at 700, but everything's pending at 680, we're going to be talking the 680 numbers. We're probably going to use the 680. If we have a bunch of solds at 650, but now all of them are selling at 700, you know, or like in Bellevue, for example, solds went way down for a minute, and then they jump back up. The pendings are a lot higher than the solds. We're going to provide you with the pendings with the data behind that. So we're trying to use the cleanest data. All of our comps are going to be in a very tight radius. If they were metro, we're going to be street by street. As we get further out, they're going to go 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles out. But typically, they're going to be within a very, very tight radius, within a quarter mile or less And we're going to show you the different types of properties, different pricing, right? We had 700 on this property as our value. We had a comp at 669. We wanted to show our client the lower comp. We also wanted them to look through the photos and they could see what the difference between our house and what that sold for. In addition to, we had a comp at 702 that was renovated. So our client could look at this and go, okay, well, if it's not that renovated, it's going to sell for this. That makes sense. A fully renovated property is going to sell for 700. So I feel good about the value. So we're going to give you as much data as we can to make you feel good about that exit number. And this is what it looked like when it's all said and done. So interesting story, guys. This flipper lives in Ecuador. She has a construction team here. It's her good friend. He runs a whole project for her. Megan, our listing broker, designed the whole house. So she picked the paint color, she picked the tile, she picked everything through. So it's very hands-off because of the teams that she set up. So again, Megan would go meet her contractor. They'd go over design. She's managing her contractor at that point. Ryan would give him subs every once in a while. And then it turned out I don't think she ever went to this house once. Did Pamela go to this one in Tacoma?
Once.
Once?
Yeah.
One. Yeah, when it was done. She likes to see when it's pretty. So you guys, it can be as hands-on as that. Now, again, Ryan didn't manage the contractor. He was there to provide resources for him, but she had her own team at that point. Megan did a good job designing it. You can see we didn't mess with the basement too much. We just kept it clean. Didn't want to spend a ton of money down there. Okay, so then what happened on this property? So the client paid $410 for it. They put in a little bit less than $130,000 on it because her contractor's just cheaper. I don't know how he did it, but good guy. We had a value of $720. It ended up selling for $800,000, and they made a net profit of $71,000 on the deal, which ended up being a 45% cash-on-cash return. You guys, most of our deals, here's some other examples. What we are targeting is a 35 to 40% cash-on-cash return. That is the minimum for us, and that's on a 6-month basis. So if it's a 4-month deal, we might target a little bit less. If it's a longer deal, we're going to target even higher. So our goal is to be at 60 to 70% annualized returns. And so based on the time of the deal, it's going to adjust the margins. But these numbers here, guys, are going to be pretty similar to what we'll be selling. And we're updating this with a whole brand new, if you guys come back to another class, they're going to be all fresh data points from a month ago. We try to update these fairly regularly. So purchase price on this deal was $585. They put in $85, sold it for $850. Mukilteo property. This was a great deal, guys. The reason this was a great deal, this property was absolutely hammered. These ones are huge spreads, needed all the work. They paid $380 for it. They put $105,000 into it. This property was only 710 square feet, so they put that's a lot of money for a small house, and they sold it for $650. So bigger the fixture, the better the deal. Here's one that was in North Seattle. They paid $850. They put $250 in, sold it for $1,400 and change. And then here was another one. This was a terrible hoarder house, but the lady did great on it. She paid $200 for it. It's really hard to find any house for $200 unless it looks like it the way it looked. She put $130,000 in. Again, you guys, this is only 800 square foot house, so she put a lot of money into it and then sold it for $550. She did really well. So again, the bigger the fixtures, the better the deals. So any questions on the fix and flip as we dive into rentals?
I got a question. My buddy Tyler Sager, who I know you've worked with, he's a stud. I saw he just did his Edmonds flip. Did he work with you guys on when he was in that flip?
Yep.
Okay. Because I would say, like, when I was kind of starting this, he's like, here, I recommend this book. And after reading the book, I was like, got general concepts, but I was like, I do not feel anywhere near confident enough to, like, pull off some of these things timing wise, or like, I don't know, just having the confidence to do it.
Which book?
The house flipping book.
By Jay Scott?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the book's a little old.
I'm like, they're talking about buying houses.
I'm actually writing a new book for them right now.
They're buying a house for like $100,000, and like some of the stuff seems like not super.
Jay's a really smart guy that wrote that book. I know him fairly well. That's gonna be. Watch out, my book's coming out soon.
Okay.
Very granular. But you guys, that's what we're here to do, is to help you through that process. So Tyler, his buddy, is a great example. He started, but it's all in steps. started with a condo. Here she was in the middle of her course, did a condo. It was very easy. He did carpet, paint, countertops, a very simple renovation. Bought it, sold it, made some money on it. Actually did better than we all thought he would do, but he hit it well. Then he was like, okay, I did this. I systemized it with our team. Then he went and bought, it was a nasty house, big hoarder house, but it wasn't a really old hoarder house. It was just more of a trash house. And so same crew that we kind of laid him up with, he got through that renovation, sold that really well. And now his next step is he's going into an older house with even bigger margin. So he's doing what he should be doing. He went from easier, low profit, a little bit better profit, more scary. Now he's getting into a deal where his profit margin is gonna be like 150 to 200 grand possibly on it.
Yeah, I was like, how are you getting this from this book? Like when he was making all these moves, but now seeing like your guys' services, I mean, it seems like a lot more feasible if you're willing to put in the work.
And he did come to the Project RE flip course.
Yeah.
So that's, and you guys, we do have an education line. If you guys want to get involved in that, that's where we take you through the process. It's an 8-week training program. Well, it's a year-long training program. But that's not what we're here to sell right now. So I won't, but yeah, no, but that's the point, you guys. This business is hard. When I started in this business, I got rocked because I had no person to help me. I was flipping condos. It was going well. Then I took my big step into a huge fixer. That thing collapsed on me and I lost all my money in one house. After I'd been working for 4 years, saving up all my money, it was gone in 9 months. And so that our whole business is designed to make sure that doesn't happen to other people. It's best as we can, right? The market explodes, it explodes. But it's about mitigating risk, getting through the deal, and that's what we're set up for. I would say he didn't use any of that book. He used us.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I was like, this because I was looking through a spread. Well, I gave him some money for the house, but I was looking through a spreadsheet. I'm like, how are you doing this? Or like, how are you calculating this? I'm like, I could not imagine calculating the rehab cost based off of that book.
Yeah. No. So we do that. Yeah, because it's a little old on that book now. It has very good tangible steps though.
Yeah.
And you guys, that's important. Go out and educate, listen to podcasts, read books, meet people. But what we're going to do is those are great concepts. We're going to show you how to put those concepts in motion. Motion's what makes money. So, and that's why we have the support staff. No, but Tyler's great. He's like the epitome of taking steps. It's awesome. We're walking his new house on Thursday. Well, now that we cover fix and flip, and I know we're going a little long, so I'm going to kind of go through this. The next thing is long-term wealth. So this is our buy and hold. Right now, you guys, buying property with high rates, it's not that great. Cash flow is not great, but there's some other opportunities I'm going to talk about in a second. The properties that we specialize in selling are single-family, multifamily, rooming houses, commercial, vacation rentals, and we do offer some syndicating if people don't want to operate and they just want to invest with us. You need to be accredited, and that's for another meeting. If you are interested, let us know. I can chat with you about it. Reason we sell this stuff is because we own all this product. We do not sell property out of this office unless we know how to operate it. That's why we don't have industrial on there. We have some commercial, but we don't go sell huge commercial buildings because that is not our bread and butter. We want to make sure that we understand the product before we sell it. So why holdings though over flipping? Flipping is great, you guys, for building cash, building up your reserves. Why holding? Well, we all know the last couple of years have been great for holdings, but now we're getting into more of a steady growth. It doesn't matter if you're in a steady growth or high appreciating growth. Where we made all our wealth was in a declining market. So we would buy rental properties, fix them, refinance them, and by the time a year would go by, they would be worth less. But there was opportunity there, and we knew there was opportunity there, whether it was a big lot that it was sitting on, the cash flow worked. And so depending on what you're trying to achieve, you can do anything with holdings. It can be great for creating equity that you can trade later down the road, or it can be for cash flow. But depending on what you want to do, we have to kind of create that plan in today's market. Today, with rates being as high as they are, we have to buy very, very differently to make it work right. But why holdings? There's a huge tax benefit behind it. You get depreciation cost segregation. I buy rental properties to try to bring down my tax basis at the end of the year. I throw money in multifamily last minute just to get that cost segregation, to get depreciation, to take it my bottom line. It's a great hedge against inflation. You can buy a property, lock in a high rent, and you know the cash on cash return you're going to get. It's backed by an asset. It works well in inflationary period. It's going to give you more passive income and get you to financial freedom. Flipping's great. It's great for building cash. Rental properties are going to help you enjoy your life later. Flipping's great to go buy more rentals and to get money going. The rentals you buy are what's going to make you not have to work down the road. Outside of that, additional resources that our team is specialized in is 1031 exchanging. We've done a ton of it. You guys, we have taken 10 to 12 properties and we've turned them into nearly 1,000 doors in the Pacific Northwest, all through 1031 exchanging. Self-directed IRAs and 401k purchasing. If you have a 401k and you're interested in working it, we can get you connected with a couple different specialist companies. They can get it self-directed. You can go buy rental properties with that. You can lend money out of it. You can do all sorts of different things with your 401k. Opportunity zones. There's major tax benefits out of buying in certain areas. If you're interested in that, we can sit down and talk to you about that a little bit more. I will say that's been kind of picked to the bone. It's not as good as what it was. More of a hype thing now, but there is some good tax benefit behind certain areas. We have an off-market company. If you're looking for something very specific, some of our clients are saying, hey, I need a fourplex in Bellevue. Those are really hard to find. You almost never see them on the MLS, but we've been talking to sellers for years. A lot of times we might have something in our database going, hey, right now the seller will sell for 1.2. We offered them 1.1, but if you're really looking, they'll sell for 1.2. So we do have shadow inventory we can show you. We're really good at leverage and structure. How you grow in your rental property is buying it right, levering it right, and then moving your cash out. Me and Bree were talking about this before the meeting. Not locking up too much cash, keeping it coming back, doing it again. And then we do offer discounted property management through our office. It's not something we really wanted to do, but our clients asked us for years to do it. So Jennifer Hafner right here is one of our partners in that company. We do property management for 7%. It's as low as we can get it, but it's below market. And so we do that because we want our clients to be profitable, and then hopefully you guys are profitable. We 1031 exchange it later, get you even more doors. So here's our long-term wealth department. It's myself and Jennifer Hafner. Jennifer Hafner is our multifamily specialist. She is incredible. She's one of the hardest working people I know. She will be looking at deals, underwriting deals, finding on and off market properties, and talking to anybody that wants to buy a multi. Our 1031 exchange partners, Kyle Williams at Fidelity National Title. If you have a 1031 exchange, we can get you set up and get you going through there. Our short-term financing partner, which is Intrust Funding, Kyle Johansson. They're for your BRRRR properties, the ones you're buying below market value that you need a construction loan, then refinancing it. And then we have numerous different financing partners. Honestly, sadly, guys, we just moved on from Jason because we think we upgraded him. He's a great mortgage broker. I would still refer him out, but we have another guy, Keen, that we started working with that's been very, very on it with our clients. You guys getting the right, you don't have to use our referrals, but having the right mortgage person is very, very important because you guys, when you're buying these value-add properties, we're paying 12% interest a lot of times. If a mortgage broker messes up that loan, that can be a cost difference of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And so just make sure whoever you are working with, that they understand what you're doing, that they have the right underwriting, they can get you in and out. Because if you get stuck in the hard money, it is not pleasant. I feel like that slide just got on, so I guess. So why long-term wealth? Well, you guys, rents are on a massive increase. 2022, and this is a little bit skewed numbers. I would not anticipate this right now. King County was up 20%. Pierce County was up 22% on rent. In the Snohomish, this is a typo, is up 21%. Okay. We should be seeing about 4 to 5% rent growth going forward. But that's why it's a good hedge against inflation. It's always going up. We are still seeing in the more affordable markets, though, like in Snohomish County, some of our apartments have still jumped 10% this year. So even though the rents are starting to cool and levelize out, just like home appreciation, rents are still growing. We're not seeing a dip in there. Another thing we like to point out with long-term wealth is that annual home appreciation, not the last 3 years, because that's not normal, is 3.53%. The reason we point this out as we look at rental properties for you guys, we're going to put this in a portfolio as you buy it. It's going to show you guys your cash flows and appreciation growth over a 1, 5, and 10-year period. We use a 3.5% growth. We don't want to make it look too big. That's what normal is. So we kind of go up the normal. Other benefits, long-term tax liability versus short-term. You guys, there's a real big benefit. When you flip a house, it goes, a lot of times you guys are taxing 40% on that deal. That's a huge hit. If you sell, you keep a flip for a year and a day sometimes. I call them a slow flip. If I do a cosmetic flip, I might rent it out short-term, sell it in a year and a day. I almost save half of my taxes. That's just working smart. So keeping them for longer than a year a day is a good thing. You get depreciation. We've talked about this, passive income, it hedges against inflation. So our process, there's two things that we do at a long-term wealth. We do disposition, which is if you guys have rental properties right now and you're like, I got this property, it's paying me cash flow, I got a bunch of equity, what do I do with it? We will sit down with you guys and have a one-on-one meeting, look at your portfolio, look at your annual cash flows, look at your return on equity, and go, is this worth trading or not? Many times, guys, when we go through that, we say don't do a trade. But then what we're going to look at is, are you maximizing out your equity? The purpose of owning a property is to gain equity. Equity is great. It can be retirement. The problem with equity is you can't use it a lot of times. And it's not actually giving you a return. And so what we do is we go through a return on equity process. We want to see where you're at. Can we sell this and trade this and increase your cash flow by double or increase your return? Most of the time we can. But it depends on a lot of different factors. So we're going to meet with you, go through your portfolio. We're going to review it. We're going to put together an upgrade plan of, hey, if you do sell, I would sell this one and this one. I would trade it for this. This is why. And we'll show you the math behind it. We're going to get your 1031 set up. We're going to get your properties listed. We're going to start locating new investments during that time. And then we're going to increase your annualized return. For the acquisition process, if you don't want to look at selling anything or you don't have anything to sell, we want to meet with you guys on a one-on-one meeting. We want to find out what your goals are. Is it cash flow? Is it equity? Is it high growth? Is it steady growth? We're going to look at what your budget is. Where should you be buying? What locations you should be looking at? And we're going to put together a plan for you on that. We're going to look at any kind of portfolio you have, if you have one. We're going to put together a 5-year and a 10-year action plan for you. Okay, if you want to get here in life, we need to buy this kind of property. And then we're going to start focusing on those. We're going to get you pre-qualified and start identifying opportunities. You guys also, for anybody, does anybody not own a home in here? You have a great edge on people. You qualify for a zero down loan. Best thing you guys can do, if you don't have a FHA loan, guys, is go use it. You can get into a property for 0 to 3.5% down. And so, you know, if you are interested in that, we have a program where we can get you through that process. We can find you a rental property. You can rent out rooms, find a duplex. You guys right now too, like you get 5% down on fourplexes if you don't own anything. Many times you need 20%. So it really hedges how much money you need. We're going to run what your current housing payment is, what we can get you into, can you save money? So if you're interested in that, fill that out in your survey. But we do work with all different types of programs. All right, so there's 2 opportunities that we're going to talk about right now that we sell out of this office. There's traditional and value add. There's pros and cons to both. A traditional sale is something where we're sourcing a property that might be just slightly below market. Maybe you're getting a 10% discount. We're never going to try to just sell you full retail. But let's say it needs less work. It's just in a nice neighborhood, and you know there's not a whole lot of renovation that needs to be done besides like just minimum upgrades. What would you tell them to? And really what this comes down to is finding a property that we can increase rents on, do a little bit of renovation, and then you're putting it in your portfolio as a steady growth. The benefit to this is you don't have to do a lot of work. And typically when we find a property, you're going to get a little bit of a discount. And you're going to get it rented within the first 30 to 60 days. So the money starts coming in. How we look at these is we're going to look at what's the performa. What can you buy it for now? What's your monthly payment? What's your expenses? What will, you know, with a down 10 to 20% down payment, what's your cash flow going to be? It's a true cash flow analysis. This works for a lot of different people that don't want to do the extra work. You know, a lot of people have stocks. They want to liquidate them off, put them in assets. Good plan at that point. Typically, you're going to leave 10 to 20% in each one of these deals. Okay, because you're not getting that big discount. You just have to put your down payment down. You're going to ride your cash flow. On a 5-unit, you're gonna leave anywhere between 20 and 40% down. 5-unit and above. That's more commercial financing. The reason we say 40 is if you want something at east side, the cash flow is terrible. Banks underwrite on cash flow, you just have to leave more money in. Like I just bought a duplex in Bellevue. I bought it well below market, and I still had to put 38% down because the cash flow is just not there. It just is what it is. So it's a different type of purchase. So depending on what you want to leave with this approach, you're going to leave 20 to 30% in. And then there's the value add approach, which is going to be your burr style properties, where we are looking for flip style rental properties, where we can buy them for 70. What the goal of these is, we're purchasing a property where the rehab and the purchase price is at 75 to 80% of the new appraised value. The reason being, it allows us to optimize leverage, use the leverage, and it allows you to get your cash back out of the deal. Okay, so you're buying below market, you're improving the value with a renovation plan, you're refinancing it, you're going to cash flow on that, and based on the new value increase, they're going to lever you back and give you back your down payment. So this one, you leave 20% in, this one, you'll be leaving more like 0 to 10% in backs. So how we look at value add approach is we look at the performance metrics. What can you buy it for? How much does it need? What's the value? What's your leverage position? We know that you can get a loan for 75% of the new appraised value. So again, we deduct the rehab, the purchase price. That tells us how much cash is in the deal. This is a more complex transaction though. It's a 2-step loan. So you use hard money when you buy them because a bank won't traditionally finance these. You're going to do your renovation plan. Once you're done with the hard money, then you're going to refinance it into a conforming loan. So that's why you do 2 loans on this process. The benefit is you're going to get a better leverage position. This one, you're going to be at 80% loan to value, maybe 75%, but you have to leave your cash in, right? This one, you're going to be about a 75% loan to value, but you're getting all your cash out. The difference is you're buying it deep and you have to do the renovation. The one negative that no one talks about though, you don't hear about in all the BRRRR books and all these things. And I'm not saying this to kind of downgrade that because I buy everything this way. The negative is you don't collect rent for 6 to 12 months. It's actually a liability. When you're buying these below market, you got to renovate them. You're using hard money. So it's not paying you anything for 12 months. You have to wait for your cash flow. And that's something that everyone should consider because that's not for everybody. Sometimes it's good to just buy a property, get some cash flow, you get a little bit of a deal, move it up that way. Because the bigger the fixer, the more equity you're going to get. But the more equity is going to come with, you got to fix it up. Other things that we do sell too is this is just our syndication. If you want to invest with us, because you don't want to do any work, you got to be an accredited investor, passive income. How that works is we pay you guys a pref return. It's usually going to be between 6 and 8% on a pref return. Our target IRR, internal rate of return, is 16 to 18% right now. And then you get the bonus depreciation on investing with us. So it's a kind of a normal syndication deal. So now we kind of talked about what we sell. We're going to go over an example, and then Intrust is going to come up and talk about financing. So you guys, this is a property that we sold recently that many people wouldn't consider as a good rental, and we're going to talk about why this was a great rental. And this is a deal that is very relevant in today's market with high interest rates. And for me, as the market changes, you have to change your investment strategy. When rates were 3.5%, go get cash flow, right? Buy a property, lever it up to the tilt. Rates are so low, it's still going to cash flow pretty well because rents are growing. That's a great strategy. In today's market, it's a lot harder to cash flow things. And so what we want to do is we are targeting, including myself, we're targeting properties that don't cash flow that well, but that have huge equity spreads and extra value in them. Because the good thing is investor activity has dropped. The pricing's dropped. Our margins have gotten bigger over the last 12 months. So yes, the money costs more, but the margins are better. So this property here was in Southwest Burien. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house built in 1943. It was on 9,900 square foot lot. And that's important. We'll talk about that in a second. It was only 700 square feet, small house, built in 1943. But another good thing about it, it was a very cosmetic fixer. Like the person owned it as a rental for a while. They took care of it. It wasn't in terrible shape. So it was a quicker turn. The roof was good. This is what it looked like when we bought it. Roof was good, windows were a little bit old, paint was a little faded. Not a bad house. So when we first looked at this, we were looking at it as a flip. We got the property because it was only 350 grand. 350 grand of variance is pretty cheap typically. So it came up, we're like, hey, that seems like a buy. But when we ran our analytics, it was going to take $65,000 to get it to highest and best use. We needed to add another bathroom, do a full renovation on it. That was going to get us a value of about $500,000 on this property. The estimated profit would have only been $10,000 to $15,000 after leverage. That's a no buy for us. There's no margin. Cash invested would have been 83, a 12.5% return on your cash. Remember what I said? We only sell 30 to 35%. So this was in a no buy zone. So we looked at this and go, it doesn't flip. Then we're like, well, it probably doesn't cash flow either because the rates. But then we kind of dug a little bit deeper and it actually turned out to be a really good deal. So in a rental overview, you could pay $350 for it. It needed less work because you didn't need to add the second bathroom. You didn't have to do as much as a flip grade. And you were going to put $35,000 into it. The value was then going to be $475. So when we ran our comparables, that second bathroom got us to the highest pricing, but then everything else was trading for just $25,000 less than it was a one bed. So the extra $30,000 in getting a flip grade wasn't paying it back. And we've been seeing that now in today's market because rates are high, people want more affordability. So, sometimes things are transacting lower. So we're putting less money in to get them sell. So we saw that you could put $35,000 in, it would appraise out for $475, and this was what we were interested in. This was going to have a $100,000 equity position when it was all said and done. So as we look at the property, you can see it's not in that bad a shape, but this is where the big added value was. We had a big backyard on the corner. Okay. Now, this is also in a neighborhood back then, like Dadu's, like people, everyone's hearing about the Dadu investing right now, right? It's everywhere. It's popular in Seattle because you can condomize them off and sell them. Some people are doing Tacoma now, they're renting it right now. The reason being is it costs too much to build, your rents don't cover, and it's not a great return. So it works in Seattle, but doesn't work a whole lot of other spots right now. But we know that that's changing over the next 12 to 24 months. So it might not make a ton of sense to build a Dadu on this property now, mathematically, but as soon as you can condomize them, it's going to make all the sense in the world. So when we're looking at this as a buy and hold, we're going, okay, this is a clean house. We can buy it for $350,000. We have a little bit of equity in this deal, $100,000 in equity. It won't make money flipping. Again, not bad shape. So we go, well, where's the angle behind this? So again, we had $350,000. You guys, this is our pro forma for rentals. So when we're breaking down, it will look like this. It has the $350 in here. We got the 35 and 35 renovation. Sorry, $375 is the total project cost. Estimated appraised value was at $475. Then in this box here, we work in 2 months of refinance, 2 months of rehab. The reason this is important, whether it's that might have been a little aggressive for this, but we are counting for your dead time on your money. Okay, so when you're looking at buying this, we accounted for 4 months of hard money payments into the deal with no rent income. So this calculates your hold time. This is going to be your vacancy rate and your appreciation rate. Then we're going to put in your anticipated rents at $2,850. We'll show you how we came up with those. We're going to back out all your expenses, and then this is going to tell you what your cash flow is at this point. The most important box out of this, because these are all basically just equation. These are formulas that are going to kick out the equations. When you're looking at a rental property, guys, look at these key figures that we put out for you. So this tells you a snapshot on the deal. Your net operating income was going to be $29,000 for the year, $2,300 in cash flow, or right here, annual cash flow at $2,400 roughly. That was going to be a 7.8% cap rate. Cap rates on single family really don't matter, but it calculates it for you. And this is going to show you what I pay attention to. What's my cash on cash return? So on this deal, we're going to leave roughly, when we buy this deal, it tells you we have to put $93,000 down. That was the 20% down plus the rehab. They gave us back the construction. After we refinanced this deal, based on the new 75% loan to value, we were only going to get back $40,000 of the 93. So we were going to leave about 10% of our money back, or 50% of our money still in the deal, which I typically don't like. But there was a reason for that. So again, on this deal, they're buying it. They're gonna leave. They're gonna make $2,400 a year. They had to come up with $94,000 to get into the deal. After they refinance it, they're gonna leave 54 in after all rehab costs, holding costs, and refinance costs, which I just summarized right here already. And then we'll go into the core numbers after this. And I'll show you why this was a good buy. So after you look at those numbers, you're going, okay, I'm into them. I'm into the cash in. I'm into the return. Just like anything else, we're going to pull you how do we come up with that 2850. Okay. So we use two things. We use the Northwest MLS and rental meter. That's going to calculate the rent cost. After we figure out the rent cost, we're going to give you, there's our other rental comps right here. We had one at 2,900, 2,400. This was one of our own brokers in our office. We felt pretty good about 2850. Then what we're going to do is any deal that we're looking at right now in today's market, we're looking for the value. Where's the value? Well, the value in this property is you can pick up $100,000 in equity. I can take that $100,000 and go trade that for 2 to 4 units down the road. If I 1031 exchange that, that's going to qualify me for about a $500,000 to $600,000 property instead of a $350,000 property. The next benefit was we had a big backyard. They could put 1 to 2 dadoos back there in 1 to 2 years. And so that's where we can carve off that lot, sell it later. We could build the dadoos. We could sell them off that way and revenue it that way. But I like the deal because it had dual aspects. It had development upside and it had $100,000 equity I could trade later. In addition to things that I liked about it, remember what I said about Burr properties. You got to buy these things, renovate them for 6 to 7 months, refinance them, then you finally collect rent income. The difference in today, or that was 2 years ago, the only way you could do that was buying the worst of the worst and buying the biggest project. Now today, you just have to wait out the rates and it becomes an amazing Burr property. Our goal was to get a 10% cash on cash return out of every one of our rentals. Now this property right now does not do that today. It has $199 a month in cash flow at a 7% interest rate. That was a 4% cash on cash return. If I look at this, if when rates go down, which rates will go down, you guys, it's probably going to be about 12 to 18 months. I thought it was going to be a little bit sooner. I think it's about 12 to 18 months. But once they go down, because historically they're going to float in that high 5s, or mid 5s. If I don't do anything with this property, I got $100,000 in equity, and once I refinance it at 5.5%, my cash flow of 4% all of a sudden goes to 12%. If it goes down to 5%, it goes to 14%, and at 4.75, it goes to 15%. So all I have to do on this property is buy it, do a light renovation, get it rented, wait out the rates, and all of a sudden I'm doing 2 to 4% higher on a return than I would if I had to buy a massive fixer property, deal with the headache, refinance it, and then wait out the rates from there. And so when we're looking at these things, we analyze, okay, what's the cash flow today, but what's it going to be in 12 to 18 months? So for me, I'm going, okay, my worst case scenario is in 18 months, I'm going to make a 10 to 12% return. My best case scenario is I trade this property for a 4 unit or a 6 unit, or my even best is I sell the house, make some money, I develop 2 dadoos in the back, and I make 300 to 400 grand on this property, all for leaving 50 grand in the deal. And these are the properties that we're okay leaving 50 grand in the deal for. It's not leave 50 grand in the deal where I'm making $100 a month with no upside. That does nothing for me. The ones with equity, and this is where you're making your money. And we were talking about this even before our meeting. There is a lot of opportunity in this right now. Why? Because builders have walked away right now. They're freaked out. And they need too much work for an end user. And the fixer buyers are a little bit stalled out. So there's a huge opportunity for RSL, single family lots. The pricing has dropped 30, 35% since 18 months ago. And this is where we're seeing the opportunity. Can we break even? Will it turn into serious cash flow when the rates fall? And where's the equity position? So other deals that we've sold, and then Intrust will come up and talk. Sorry, guys. Recently, you guys, we sold a Seattle fourplex for $800,000. It was a 1031 exchange. The client's making a 10% return, which is great for North Seattle, 10%. This was just a straight purchase down. They're making 10% on their money. We had 2 Burien fourplexes side by side where the client paid $1.96 million for all 8 units. It was a 12% cash on cash return, but they left $500,000 in the deal. They were okay leaving $500,000 in the deal because they're making 12%, getting some equity out of it. Then we had a Burr style duplex in Bothell. They paid $462,000 for it. They left $73,000 in the deal, but they're making a 16% return on their investment in Bothell. And $476,000 is just cheap. It needs a lot of work. So you guys, average savings. This is wrong. I need to update this. It's more like 4.5% right now. You get pretty good in your savings account. Average CDs 0.58. You guys, we are targeting on fix and flip properties 30 to 55% returns, leverage 13 to 18 with no leverage. So next steps, guys, is Intrust is going to talk, and then all the salespeople will be here just to answer questions. If you want to take the next step and meet with us one-on-one, complete your survey. We're going to give you a phone call. We're going to get you scheduled in with the investment team, get you pre-qualified, and talk about getting in your deal. Other information for you guys if you want to learn more. These are kind of our free education, guys. If you go to Heaton Dainard, we have a lot of different free resources. There's a 4-hour webinar on how to negotiate contractors. If you go to our YouTube channel, Project RE, we have underwriting videos, a lot of free education that we produce out here. There's our webinar series. And then
Question, James.
Yep.
What's your thought on new investments, like new properties? Because so far what I've gathered is the analysis, research is going in, buy the old one, these fixtures, fix, get repaired, sell, and get out. So what's your thought on, just curious, like net new, brand new properties out there where builders are like really in prices, so.
Oh, you're about like distressed?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of distress still in our market. It hasn't came yet. There could be some it's very, very low because we track all foreclosures. I think we're still a good 12, 24 months out on that. I think what's going to cause that is more the credit card debt crisis and all the other things. But I would say you got to wait a little bit more. Right now, you guys getting into our market on like a new house is not the greatest. You can do it. We actually just secured a rooming house that was pretty new, and we got an owner financing terms of 4.1%. And so that made pretty good, but we have to leave a lot of cash in the deal. It's like and so I would say there's not that many opportunities in Washington right now, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. Eastern Washington has more too. I would say Eastern, Central Washington has more of that. Right now, it's not looking that great for returns. But not that we don't get them. We get more like stuff in the 90s where it's like carpet paint turns.
Right.
But brand new, not a whole lot of discount.
Got it.
Not yet, but that doesn't mean it won't change. So. I know, wouldn't that be nice? I would just love to buy brand new. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll let Intrust chat, and then we'll come back up. Was I running long?
No.
Never.
How's it going, guys? I'm Kyle. I'm with Intrust Funding. I'll go quick here. So one thing, since I'm going to go quick, I do teach a class similar to James. It's called Hard Money 101. It's not that slide says that. We do it once a month. I'm trying to think what it's going to be in November. I can reach out to you guys. It's pretty cool. We bring in my underwriter, so he kind of dives into like how to find an ARV. A lot of times we throw the term ARV. Here's the value on it, but we actually have you guys submit a property, and we'll pick one randomly, and then we'll just throw it up there, and he'll run through how to comp a property, how he's doing that, just so you guys see kind of what's behind the scenes of the underwriting. And I just kind of go into more detail on scenarios, past loans, more Q&A. So this is going to be a quick run over of what's hard money, how to get pre-qualified with Intrust. Same thing, Monroe, coworker back there. If you guys come in for a one-on-one with any of the acquisition guys, we'll pop in and we can sit down and chat more one-on-one. We find that more helpful to actually kind of put a real deal in front of you and show you numbers than the PowerPoint here. But all right, skipping forward, you guys kind of already know the owners. I'm just going to skip to the nitty-gritty here a little bit. Maybe I didn't go too fast. So a little bit about hard money. I know James touched on this. Hard money, because you asked this question earlier, it is a real estate investment loan. So you cannot use it on an owner-occupied property. Always throw that out there. What we're doing as a hard money lender is we are evaluating the property for what it's worth after it's fixed up. There are some banks that might lend on a semi-cosmetic rehab property. The difference is they're gonna lend on the value of the property today, requiring an appraisal. So we're always looking at the added value. So that's kind of the big difference there. It's quick funding. We can fund a deal in as little as 48 hours. So it's gonna be the same as cash. So it's gonna put you in the same realm as a cash buyer. One thing to know is hard money is an interest-only loan. So you're paying interest only. Say you borrow $400,000, you're gonna pay interest only monthly, and you're gonna owe $400,000 when the loan is paid off. So we are the primary hard money lender for Heaton Dainard. It is our sister company, but Intrust Funding is a separate company as well. So we do fund loans anywhere in Washington State. We don't lend outside of Washington. Reason for that is exactly what James just went through. James and Will, their subject knowledge is Washington State. It allows us to underwrite these deals. We know all the different pockets and everything like that. So if we were to jump into other areas, we're going to lose our advantage. And it's jumping ahead quick. So there are a lot of lenders out in the hard money world. Who's used a hard money lender in here before? Anybody? Okay. So I kind of categorize them, and there's your hard money lenders, and then there's kind of medium and soft money lenders. If you're out to Google hard money lenders, you're going to find a lot of people that are brokers. They're going to take your loan, they're going to sell it off to, they're going to take your loan and broker it to somebody else who's going to actually handle that loan all the way through. So Intrust does not sell our notes to anybody. We fulfill them all the way through or service them. A lot of the out-of-state lenders that you're going to find require a lot more information. They take longer to close, and they're relying on data models. So they're using computer underwriting similar to how a bank will. We don't use any fancy software. We're simply underwriting these properties in-house using our market knowledge and being able to put these deals together for you. So really simple, getting pre-qualified with us. So we don't have a fancy application. We do have a small little link I can send you, or it's on my signature. To get pre-qualified with us, we need three things. Contact information, basic. Your name, your address, your phone number, and an email. Bank statement or some sort of liquidity statement. So what we're looking for here is, do you have funds for a down payment, reserves? Everyone always asks, like, how much do you have to show? I mean, the more you show, the better. We're not going to increase our down payment based on your numbers. So you can show a bank statement. You can show a combination of bank statements. We don't require them to be seasoned in one account. A business account if you own your own business. You can have stocks, stuff from your work that are vesting. We typically don't like to see not a 401k retirement unless people are really going to use that. But all those things work. Credit report. So we do require a credit report, and we do pull a credit report. It is valid for 12 months of lending with us. So we don't have to do it periodically. Your credit is not going to base where our lending parameters are. They don't change. I'll go into that in a minute. Just so you know, if you're submitting a property to us, say go out and find your own property, this is what we would need to underwrite your property, or kind of what's already done behind the scenes. So we don't require an appraisal, and we don't require a BPO. We ask that you send us 15 photos of the property. So we want to see a few exterior and a few interior. It gives us an idea of what this property looks like as is. A scope of work. You might not have a detailed scope of work yet, but you're going to say, hey, I'm thinking about putting 75K in, 100K in, or unknown. And then basically what type of loan, which I'll go over, and how long of a loan. Once you submit these, within 24 hours, we will have the property underwritten, and we'll come back to you with feedback. What I mean by feedback is we're not going to just say you're approved or you're not approved. We're going to come back and say, here's our ARV on this property, and this is why. These are the comps. You know, we deducted $10,000 from this comp because your house sits on this street, and this is why. So a lot of understanding Washington State is knowing the different pockets. You can be in one area, 2 blocks over, be worth 60 grand more, 2 blocks south, lower. Just making up these hypothetically. So it's not just understanding the market, which we do. So pre-qualifying yourself. Once we have that on file, at any point you can reach out to myself or Monroe. You can submit a property to us and get an analysis. Say, hey, I'm looking at this property. What's your thoughts? We're happy to go over with you, tell you ARV, give you some input on budget numbers, and then write you a pre-approval letter. So the pre-approval letter is going to come off as pretty strong. I think I have a copy of it coming up. Sorry, I haven't done this presentation a little bit. But it basically is it's going to say that, it's working on it. I thought.
You're pre-qualified to purchase X property.
Yeah, so you have no contingency in it, so it's pretty aggressive. No contingency, closed in as little as 72 hours from mutual, no appraisal or broker's price opinion and BPO required. So again, we want you to be up there with those cash buyers. This is again, only if you're selling us a property that is not a Heaton Dainard property. If you sit down and buy a property from them, all this has been done for you. So all you have to do is get pre-qualified. So this is kind of what we would send you in a complimentary deal analysis, very similar to what is being provided you with the Heaton Dainard properties that are being sent. This is what we would put together for you if you want to send a deal. So you're going to get basically a performa or flip calculator. You're going to get the comps that go along with it, the tax records and property details. And you're going to get our feedback on things we see, things we don't like, things we might recommend on there. Assignment fees. If you are buying, does everybody know what an assignment fee is? Does anybody not know what an assignment fee is? Okay, so here's a hypothetical. Use Monroe, for example. Monroe just went up to James and offered to buy his house for $400,000. James said yes. Monroe comes to me, I'm an investor, I want to buy this house, and I buy it from Monroe for $450,000. So the wholesaler assignment fee is $50,000 in that transaction. A lot of lenders, hard money lenders, do not like assignment fees. Some will allow it, and some look at they'll only lend up to a percentage of the assignment fee versus the purchase price. So what that means is if you were to go buy this deal I'm buying, and I take it to XYZ hard money lender, they'll lend a $400,000, but they won't lend a $50,000 assignment fee. So I have to put a down payment and pay Monroe $50,000. So with us, we will just roll the entire amount in. The wholesaler is paid via escrow at closing. So we have no cap. I know James has seen $175,000, $300,000 assignment fees. So as long as he has a $70,000 one today. So as long as that number makes sense, we will pay it out.
Does it change how you the interest of the loan or anything like that, or?
It's going to increase. You are paying interest on it, yes.
Right.
So again, your down payment's going towards it and everything. Okay. So it's just a difference of, let's use it's $100,000 assignment fee. You're paying 15% of it down to take care of that compared to paying out of pocket. So we have two types of loans. If you guys remember back to the performer that James showed, there was the cash, the construction loan, and the standard loan. So our standard loan is acquisition only or purchase only. That means that you as the investor are using us to help purchase it. You're going to put 15 to 20% down. We fund the rest, but you're going to pay for rehab out of pocket. So it's not used too commonly. Now, there are some people that are cash buyers that want to leverage their money, and they realize, okay, I would rather use Intrust to help purchase it, but I don't want to pay interest on the rehab funds. I have the extra funds. I'll just do that portion myself. And then we have the rehab loan, higher leverage. We're combining the acquisition and rehab. We do it all in one loan. So you'll notice that a lot of competitors out there do a first position loan for the acquisition. They charge points on, and they do the rehab, and they charge like triple the amount of points on the rehab. So we do it in one loan. A couple other things to point out is if you are current on your payments, all of our loan agreements have 2 automatic extensions written in. Sounds like an odd topic, but why I bring it up is there's a lot of lenders that say you do a 6-month loan. You get that 6 months, there's been delays, your house is sitting a little bit longer. They don't have to extend that for you. A lot of times they have to pitch that to the ownership, and we've been getting calls after calls for years where they have to go to another lender to finish the project. So we'll extend the loan twice, so equaling 3 months if needed. There's also a third extension, which is an ownership call at that point. Our goal is to try to get you through the loan.
What's the acquisition like interest rates today compared to outsiders? Because there was an option I saw on the previous slide. Go with your preferred lender. Is that an option? Like, can we go with the split rehab only with you guys?
Split the rehab? So we have split the rehab. It gets a little trickier. in that scenario, it comes down to, can I come to that in 1 second?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of that. So everybody wants to know where the down payment comes from. It's like number one question. So it's not you, it's the property, or it's the deal itself. So we will lend up to 70% of our loan against the after repair value with a minimum of 15% down. So deals that have bigger margins or bigger spreads will typically require less down, 15%. Deals that are tighter margins will require 20% down more than likely. This is going to sound very backwards, but if you are buying a turnkey property with the most minimal amount of rehab needed, you're going to have to put maybe even more than 20% down. Sounds backwards, that we will put less down on a beat up property, but we are a value add lender. So if you're buying a property that no matter what you do to it cannot increase the value of it very much, your down payment's going to have to be higher to put us in that threshold of that 70%. Kind of sounds backwards. So one thing about us is we do not charge our fees outside of the loan. So with us, you're going to pay origination fees. They range from 2 to 4 points, depending on how long of a loan you want. Some of that is negotiable about your experience level, other things like that. But I'm using a scenario here of 2 points. The reason I point this out is most lenders want to collect these fees up front. So when you talk to someone, they say, I want 10 or 15% down. You're on top of that, you're also paying their fees at closing. So you have a $500,000 loan, for example, with us. We ask for 20% down, which is $100,000, brings to a $400,000 loan. You want a 5 or 6 month loan, which is 2 points or 2%. 2% of $400,000 is $8,000. So rather than having to put $8,000 down with your 100, we're going to simply add that to your loan. So all of our fees are rolled into the loan. So you'd have a loan for $408,000. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. So this is just kind of giving a scenario here. I'm going to kind of skip over some of these because they're things you guys have kind of seen in the past here. But getting onto the draws, and this will come into your question. So hard money lenders disperse funds or the rehab construction funds via draws, and everybody does it a little bit differently. So what they're essentially doing is they're giving you funds as you progress or complete items off the scope of work. As the value of the property increases, as you add more value, the funds are dispersed. So with us, I think we're the only ones, we advance the first draw at closing. So we give you a portfolio manager. His name is Sean Johnsrud, been doing this for 30 years. His job is to work with you on the rehab budget. You have to request all these. We have a simple process. It's like a Google Drive link you use. But say hypothetically you close on a loan with Intrust today. Tomorrow you can request your first draw. You simply fill out the form. We'll wire you, say, $20,000 to $25,000. You go out and do the work with that money. When you're done, we require no inspections. So for those who are kind of unfamiliar with hard money companies, majority of lenders need some sort of a physical site inspection to verify what work has been done with the money they gave you. So they're either going to make you pay a fee and they'll send one of their people out or a third party, or call and schedule just a home inspector. The problem is it costs a couple $100 every time, and you might be waiting 7 to 10 days for someone to come out and verify your work. They might get there and you might not even pass the verification and have to go through the steps again. So it's a lot of back and forth. So we wanted to remove all that red tape. Once you get your first draw, you do whatever work it covers. When you're done, you or your contractor take 15 photos and upload it to the link that Sean gives you. So what you're doing is you're showing Sean photo evidence of what you've completed with the $25,000 that he has given you. It can be labor completed or on our scope of work, which I don't have up here. We look at a lot of times labor cost versus material cost. So anytime you buy materials like windows, doors, even once you pay those, you can turn it in right away and be reimbursed for it. You don't have to actually have them installed. Once they're installed, the completion percentage improves. The last thing, sorry, before I jump ahead, is the way that most lenders work here is they'll lend you, say, 125 grand, whatever the rehab amount is, but they don't advance the first draw. They require you to cover the first 25%, then being reimbursed, then come out of pocket, then be reimbursed. So it's a lot more of your money going out. The other benefit with this is if we ask for, say, $100,000 down, the next day you're getting $25,000 back to start your project. So it offsets some of your down payment. So this is kind of how the draws work. This is just a hypothetical. So we can cut it down to as little as 3 draws or as many as you want. I always tell people the more draws is easier. If you do less draws for larger chunks of money, you have to get a lot further in the project before you're available for the next draw. If you want to piece it together with a bunch of $10,000 draws every week, you can fly through a project. It's fully customizable, up to you. You can get halfway through the project, talk to Sean and say, I need to change my draw schedule. There's nothing set in stone to get you through. So it's very customizable. Now to answer your question, I have had plenty of people split stuff with us. What we do is, and I don't have an example here, but we'd have like a scope of work, and we need you to highlight or note beforehand what items you're going to pay for versus we're going to pay for. And then Sean will run a schedule off of this. Like we give you the first draw of $20,000, you pay for the next $20,000. It covers X, Y, Z. We give you a draw, it covers this, then you do a draw. So we can definitely do that. It has to be coordinated. So you can kind of leverage some of that money. Any questions? Sorry, I'm going kind of quick here. Okay. Anything else I should touch on? I was trying to go quick for everybody.
No.
That's kind of nuts and bolts. Like I said, it's really simple. Pre-approval is simple. We can basically, Monroe and I are available 7 days a week if you have any questions. We will sit down if you guys do a one-on-one with any of the team over there. Like I said, each month I do teach about an hour and a half class that really digs into this and try to have our underwriter come as well to go over how he determines ARVs on properties. So I'm gonna skip all the pro formas and examples because you guys have seen a lot of that, and let the team come in and talk to you guys. Thank you guys.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming in. So right now, what we do is we just hang out until everyone wants to leave. So we have our Heaton our sales team over here, Intrust Funding will be here. If you guys want to hang out and ask questions, or if you want to kind of move forward, we just ask you guys to fill out your survey. We'll be in touch. If you don't want to move forward, just don't put anything. We won't book it. So we keep it pretty simple. So cool.
What's working in the current market in this area?
What's making the most money?
Yeah.
Big fixer flips. The old houses in Seattle right now, like the deals we're getting are a lot better than they were. Like your 1920s craftsman home in a good neighborhood, we're probably paying 20% less for those right now. But they just require a lot of construction work. Those are good deals. The house daddy deals are pretty good, where you renovate the house and build in the back. Those have been really good. The cosmetic fixers, they're just slimmer margins because there's such little product out there that end users are bidding against them too. But the big fixers are, I mean, I know my margins have increased pretty dramatically.
Are you talking about flips or burrs?
Well, for flips, I would say that's the best return. Honestly, for rentals, nothing's cash flowing that well. The example I put up is what we're chasing right now. Because what we have seen is you can get like properties on RSL. So RSL is where you can build a bunch of cottages. For a while, that dirt was trading for really high pricing, and then builders backed off of it. So now there's a bunch of like houses that are less than 12 square feet. You can add a bunch of cottages on them later. So we're looking at trying to get those breaking even on them. As long as we can break even, we feel like they're good value. Because then where we've done well is buying stuff at development return. Because, like, for example, lots we were selling for like $750. Now we can buy them for $550. So we know that builders, when rates were low, were paying $200,000 to $250,000 more 18 months ago. So we know that there's runway there. We just have to wait the market out. And so those are the ones we're really targeting right now. Or like there's just good deals. Jen got a really good deal in Green Lake. that duplex.
Yep.
So if it needs fixer, we got it for $750 in Green Lake. Top unit had a rooftop deck with views. It needed probably 50 grand per unit, so it needed like a full causeway turn. That property would have traded for what, $1 million?
Yeah.
$1,000,001 when rates were low. So like if it needs a little bit more work, that's where the deals are, at least on multifamily right now. But that deal would actually cash flow in today's market.
It was old, not too old, 50s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like a mid-century. Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't they recite it too?
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's kind of like a
interesting
weekend
story.
warrior. It's a weekend warrior special.
Yeah, it was like originally a 3-story, but there was a fire on the top story at one point, like way back. And then when they redid it from the fire, they just kind of made it into a rooftop deck. So now it's like 2 levels and a rooftop deck.
Yeah.
So.
But like that's a deal we could not have gotten.
Interesting.
2 years ago. There's no way. And honestly, if a client didn't buy that deal, I would buy that deal. We let our clients pay first.
Yeah.
But I was all over that one. I was like,
Yeah.
Jen, I'll buy that.
It was a good buy. It just closed today, actually.
Yeah, so I would say for housing, we gotta go after more fixers for those good margins. But the development stuff is where it's like even Element or where you put townhomes on, that pricing has dropped.
Anyways.
Like lots that were trading for 1.5 or traded for right now. And so what you get, the opportunity is builders, they were buying 4plexes and knocking them down, now they can't make that work. So these 4 units have came down in price, but the dirt was still worth that when the rates were low. And so you can get into a cash flowing building or a building will break even, and then you can put 4 to 6 units on it later. And that's where you get that huge pop. That's how we did a lot of 1031 exchange. It was just, and we did it kind of by accident. It was like, okay, we bought this property on a big lot. We're gonna keep that as a rental because it was cheap. And then like, oh wait, you can put houses here. And then we would 4x that price, 1031 for a multi. And we went from a single family house to like 10 units on that one trade. And so that's what. So it's a good opportunity right now for that, like single family houses.
In which areas is this working?
How do you, where's a good list of zoning now? Zoning just changed in Seattle or actually maybe the zoning's the same, but now you can just add the daddies.
Well, they eliminate single family, so SF 5000 is gone, and now it's called NR3 or
NR
N3.
1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, that's a density play.
Okay.
So most are zone N3, so they're all on the Seattle DPD's website.
Okay.
If you go under zoning, they'll be all in there.
Okay.
It's kind of weird how they write them.
Yeah,
It's
because
pretty
they
ambiguous.
just started changing that. I don't know if I'm looking at old or new, but it's a Seattle, city of Seattle has the zoning list, I guess.
Yeah, so the LR, the townhome dirt was not changed at all.
Right.
The RSL hasn't changed.
The SF 5000 has changed.
That's where, and the good thing about the SF 5000 is the permits are a lot faster. So what's happened, the reason why townhome dirt has fallen, it takes 12 to 18 months to get permits on townhomes.
Oh,
But on these daddy properties, you can get the permits in 4 months. And so or if you want to knock down a house on a single family lot now, we can build 2,400 square foot house and 2,200 square
I'm
foot.
right, living next door to my like neighborhood too, somebody's putting a daddy ADU on a corner lot. And it's like, it's the tallest thing in the whole lot. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
in
And then
a
this
house
little,
too, right?
yeah, this little conservative, modeling, I think we only have one other one block away that they did that.
I mean, that's essentially what.
Yeah,
You might know the builder, it's Ponderosa somebody.
Oh, Ponderosa?
I think it's Ponderosa, some guy.
Yeah.
I said hello to the guy when he invited me.
Yeah, I do know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna
guess,
list it in April, looks like, but it's totally.
You'll probably do well, probably sell them for 850 those daddies.
Big each?
I mean, that's what they were trading for.
But selling, you think we'll do it, break it up into 3?
So, yeah, what they usually will build is a single family house.
He did in single, it's side by side, single family attached
ADU.
with the garage, and then there's this attached.
And they both have garages?
No, one garage, it's
That's probably for the house.
For the house with the ADU.
And then they put the ADU next to the garage.
It's side by side.
Yep.
It's pretty efficient. The guys are there every day, and even on the weekends. And then we have the detached right here. There's no yard left.
Yes.
I even lived in that house before, so I had to remodel mine. That's another story. But they've got all facing the fire street. He's on corner arterial, but he's just got them all facing now. It's very efficient.
Yeah, it's actually.
And they're huge. I mean, they're 3 level. They finally put the roof on. It's like way high. Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually 3 stories.
Yeah.
The ADU and daddies aren't typically.
The detached is shorter. It's 1 level shorter.
Yeah, pricing's gonna be a lot
But the
different.
other,
They might be
the
doing work
ADU is
for
the same height, but
not as.
the garage takes up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna
So
talk, I mean,
that's
if I.
maybe, they had to figure that out, but they're designing for sure.
Yeah, typically the ADUs we sell for about 20% less than the daddies.
But you think he could either sell it as one property, or he'll divide it into 3 tax lots?
I guess.
No, what they do is they do a condo
I'm
overlay.
like,
So
I
you
don't
don't
like
subdivide,
by any
Oh,
means.
he's
because
not-
subdividing takes a long time.
He may not, he may just,
He won't be selling this
he'll
one.
just
I mean,
sell it
if
as
you have a-
as
you have
a
a-
property.
No, he won't be doing that.
There's a course.
So what we
Sure,
do,
we're
all
breaking
builders
all
do
this
it this
stuff.
way, you do a condo overlay.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we actually make a mini subdivision. And so you can do it in 5 days instead of 12 months.
Okay.
And so you build them, you get your permit issued, and then you do a condo overlay, so then you sell them, they're condominiumized. And you sell them separately on mini
Actually just
lots,
talked
but
to
it's
Tyler
not
about it.
formally
And
sold.
at first I was like, dude,
It's a much faster, efficient way to do it.
And I was like,
They're sold as condos, air condos.
Air condo, why do they air, just because they're just, because you don't know if they're up or down or whatever, they could be.
Yeah, it's like, it has to do with air rights. I don't know.
So really,
Honestly,
you
when
can-
people first said air condos, I was like, air condos? What is that? And I'm like, oh, man.
So most likely they'll be free owners.
There's gonna be 3 on it. They won't sell it, they'll sell it for 35% more than legend
Right?
Yeah.
Now, when rates were low, some institutions were buying those as rentals, but now it would be
I don't
much
think my
lower.
neighborhood calls out for that, really, I don't know, I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he'll be selling them separate, and then he'll probably sell the front house in Montlake, Santa Street is on.
Yeah.
What street is it on?
It's on 19th years.
Oh, great spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, great spot.
Yeah, right.
So the house will probably sell for like 1/8, 1/9. ADU, now it has a garage that's worth more, probably like a 700.
Yeah, the ADU is a garage.
And then the daddy's gonna sell with no garage, probably for about 799. So on that one property,
It's pretty good.
yeah, so the era of like building the 3,500 square foot houses is over. No builder does it because you can get so much more density now out of each lot.
Yeah.
And then the pricing is way higher. And so that's kind of what, and honestly, they're way easier to build than townhomes. They're way easier to build than RSL. That's why the RSL dirt was dropped, because of this zoning.
Yeah, I'm
And
curious,
so-
I mean, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of waiting, I mean, this is a full-on developer, that's what they do infill.
Yeah, they're fairly large.
Yeah, he's told me he's based over in the east side somewhere, but that's what they're doing, they don't always do Montlake, he was saying, in fact, I lived in that house, and this has been a long time, they wanted to try to, he wanted to sell the house at some like ungodly price of 500,000. I don't know how long, I mean, it was like, when I look at the value,
Yeah,
look at what happened.
they probably paid about 750 to 800 for that lot. That's about the number.
I mean, they've been sitting on it for
Definitely learn.
over a year,
too, but
I think they've been sitting on it.
He might have paid about 850
Because I
back
thought there was a
then.
renter
Now
in
he's
there,
just
and it was
like.
just a real, everybody neighborhood
It's
for a while.
It's
good.
I feel like you would read all about fixing cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of good density plays right now. That's why we're focusing on
Is it just
the
Seattle?
rentals.
Is there also?
Seattle,
Is it
Kirkland,
Charlotte? Seattle, Kirkland?
and a couple other cities you can still condo on. Right, what's happening though is every city will be, like in Tacoma, you can't condo on. So you can build them and you can rent them out, but the math doesn't really work because it costs you about 300 grand to build these things.
Okay.
Maybe 400 a nice one in
And you wanna
Seattle.
get the rent.
And your rent's gonna be like 2,500. So mathematically, it just doesn't make any sense, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But once you
Okay, so
condoize
next step is
them,
like the one-on-one.
you
Yeah,
go 300,
I
it'll be worth
think
like
we should
450 in
totally
Tacoma.
schedule something.
Okay.
Or like in Seattle, we basically build the daddy, we build them for about 320,000,
Yeah.
but we do that ourselves.
Yeah.
If you hire a builder, it's 350 to 400, but then you're selling them typically for 650 to 800, depending on what the lot
Are
is.
you, Are you doing
Are you out here now?
Dadu's and
Yeah.
ADU build outs now? Or-
So do you have,
didn't
you have.
mention that in your presentation.
Absolutely.
That's, yeah, we're updating, but yeah, we do a ton of
I
it.
mean, you do a ton of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that'd be
So
probably
there's
best to do
some people that just wanna get in, get out with the, fix up what's there, and others said, no, let's add another unit.
Or you do both,
Or you do both.
renovate the house and you build the
I mean,
dadu
that kind
back,
of
so there's all these hybrids, so we're actually gonna be
And then there's
doing.
a timing element, I just learned about maybe if you wanna sell off the back unit first, or whatever you wanna do to try to cash out.
So it's awesome.
Or
So
what,
let me,
there's a
There's a strategy.
There's a strategy to be what you wanna do, so that you basically have one of them free and clear if you want, or.
That's for taxable to keep in a rental, so what you
Right.
can do is you can build this property, stack all your bases on that,
Right,
which so then you sell your property with no tax
Like
gain.
contact.
Which then, but then your basis goes way down on your house. So basically you can build the dadu, pay no taxes. Cause you're selling a lot, for like, let's say you're selling a lot for 300 grand to this.
okay,
So you're gonna basically break even.
okay,
So then that takes your basis way down, so then, but you still get the cash out of it, but you don't have to pay taxes on it.
okay,
But then your depreciation schedule is gonna be lower on your house.
right, okay.
So there's, and so what we're doing though is we have a core investor 101 rental class, which we're taking right now, but then we're gonna have additional classes rolling out. They'll be scattered throughout the month. There's gonna be like a development 101 class, where it's about dadus, single family. We're gonna have a multifamily, just kind of separate, like value add versus, and they'll be scattered. A lot of these will be online too.
Sure.
So then people can just log on, go through the class, and they'll just be kind of scheduled out. And then we'll have a salesperson kind of answering questions about them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we do want to expand out a little bit more on that. That is a hot topic. For a while, it didn't mathematically make sense until you caught it along. But
I think, yeah, I'm hearing more about it, it didn't say anything.
oh, it's the thing right now.
It depends on the area too.
It would.
I mean, in Seattle, it's probably good, there's a lot of.
It actually depends more on the lot.
Yeah, and I just learned about the
Like
lot
if you have
size.
an alley or corner, it's worth substantially more. It has to do with parking, and that's where people are getting in trouble right now. Is they're like, oh, I can build a dadu, it's worth this, but then they don't have a yard or parking.
And then there's trees, you have to be really careful of trees.
What's more your value? Your value will drop like 200 grand if you don't have a couple amenities. And so,
What are
like,
the amenities gonna, I mean, it's having like an alley?
yard and parking, like a parking pad can be like $100,000, which is crazy, right?
But you're not required to put a parking pad in, but it's just an, it's
What's
just.
your availability look like this week?
It helps the
It's
property.
more than no one wants to buy it.
Oh.
Because crime's high in Seattle, people don't park on the streets, they don't wanna
Yeah.
walk, and so they'll pay so.
Thursday at.
Livability is a
Thursday
huge
afternoon.
deal in today's market, like
Yeah.
It's about it.
parking's a big deal, very narrow footprints for townhomes don't sell well, so like the first, it's like, it's really about the plan you're putting in.
Yeah.
And so it's, you can build a dadu on